Now, I was telling you earlier about the escalating number of attacks upon Muslim women. These brave, dirty, racist fascists think nothing of pulling women's hijabs, spitting on them, rubbing feces in their face, putting feces through their doors. You know, that's the kind of people that they are. But volunteers in a wonderful new organization called Faith Matters have set up a wonderful new helpline called Tell Mama. And Fayaz Mogul is on the line now to talk to us about it. Fayaz, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us about the reasons why you've had to set this helpline up.
Well, over the last 10 years, Muslim communities have been consistently saying that they've been coming under quite a substantial amount of prejudice, particularly Muslim women have been saying this. And so this helpline has been set up, one, to assist victims, and two, to see the scale of the potential issue around anti-Muslim prejudice. And
what is the scale of that?
Well, we can't be alarmist, but, and I say but, we launched this in March of this year. We have approximately 180 cases logged, but as each day goes by and more people know about the project, there is more and more individuals who are calling in. George, if I can say, the concern we have is the absolutely enormous amount of anti-Muslim prejudice, hate, call it what you want, online, that seems to be unchecked. Seemingly individuals believe it's okay to threaten, post comments about bombing mosques and think they post them and walk away. And the shocking thing for us has been the enormous amount of anti-Muslim hate online.
And what are the police doing about this? After all, if it were Muslims making threats to bomb churches, or Muslims making threats against Christian politicians, you could be sure that the police and the media would be very busy indeed.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, the police is pushing hate crime up the agenda. There is a slight, however, the police are pushing it up the agenda. They see it as something that needs to be tackled, but we have regional variations in the forces. Some forces are very hot on reporting back to victims. They're very good at pushing this and getting prosecutions. Some forces have some distance to go. Maybe some further training is needed. Maybe some further assistance is needed. But, George, there is a gap here. There is a gap here in the law. And the gap here in the law is this. I know that freedom of speech campaigners talked about the need for people to criticize religion. That's perfectly natural, normal in our society for people to criticize, discuss, and debate. But when you have individuals who threaten to burn the Quran, who call Muslims pedophiles, and then the law really says, or effectively, they fall in between a crack. They haven't threatened a Muslim. It could be incitement. We need specifically clear direction from the CPS on this and some outreach work from the Criminal Prosecution Service to tell Muslim communities what can be potentially prosecuted and what can't. Because, in all fairness, we're feeding in the information, but the public need to know what they can complain in about and what potentially falls under this issue of freedom of speech. But there's an enormous amount of hate here that seems to go unchecked, and 1 in 3 of the cases that are logged with us have a perpetrator who is an EDL sympathizer, and I think the Home Office needs to...
Now, the EDL, just for the international audience, Fayaz, is a group of far-right, white racists.
Absolutely. I mean, that basically sums it up. I mean, if they want to burn the Quran and abuse all Muslims, then in fact they're an extremist group. And the Home Office needs to look at this issue because our data is showing substantial amount of their propaganda providing individuals with a warped sense of Muslims, and that gives them some kind of perspective to go on the street and think that they can abuse Muslim, predominantly females, and they think that's normal. I think that's disgraceful.
Well, maybe the police need to have more agents inside the EDL and fewer inside Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace. After all, nobody in Greenpeace ever wanted to hurt any person.